Slay the Princess can be summarized as an indie game by the developers Black Tabby Games about the existential horror of being in a relationship. Slay the Princess is a visual novel game, so if you're here with the expectation of it being heavily gameplay focused or action filled, then maybe skip this one. Also, if you're not a fan of gore and horror in general. However, if a horror visual novel game where your choices actually matter,
no one's going to acknowledge the fact that you just brought me a quarter as much food as you were just making.
Where you can end up being eaten alive by a wild animal, or flirting with a sentient pile of shivs, or winning a fist fight with a devil sounds interesting to you, then keep watching this review. Oh, did I mention this is technically a dating sim? Through this review, I will try to spoil as little as possible, because most of the fun of playing this game is making your own choices and seeing what happens. As you can imagine, this makes the replay value of the game extremely high, as you can always return to the game to find more paths that will lead to different results, something that the developers put a lot of effort into expanding even after the initial release of the game. I'm pretty sure that even I haven't found all the different paths, or at least that's what my Steam page says. That being said, minor spoilers ahead. One of the biggest appeals of Slay the Princess, to me at least, is how little hand-holding there is in the game. You are told simply by the narrator that
you're here to slay her.
And if you do not do that, the world will end. It's your job as the player to figure out things like, how is a princess supposed to end the world? Is she able to end the world if she's being kept prisoner? And isn't it wrong to kill a princess?
Are you a monarchist?
You, your character, or whoever you are, one of the little mysteries the game wants you to figure out, start out on
Path in the woods.
You are given different options in the form of text. Choosing from these different options will result in consequences, ones that you can see coming and those you did not. Congratulations, if you did not know what a visual novel game was before, now you do. If you are one of those people that find it absolutely impossible to make even the smallest decisions, don't worry, the voices in your head are here to offer you completely sound and not at all questionable advice. Whether or not you choose to follow their advice is completely up to you. While I'm on the point of making decisions, let me talk about making choices and consequences in video games in general. In a lot of games, it does ultimately feel like your choices do not matter, especially in games where they should matter. Generally speaking, a game can be divided into two parts, narrative and gameplay. Narrative is the story elements of a video game, choices and consequences, character writing, world building, etc., and things like voice acting and character dialogue. I'm explaining this to you because games often have to choose whether they want to be more narrative focused or gameplay focused. This is generally because of resources. If you decide to spend money and time on voice acting and writing, then you might not have that much left to spend on gameplay and vice versa. So, when I say that a lot of choices in games don't matter when they should, I mean to say that in a lot of games where the focus of the development went into the narrative, not a lot of effort went into creating consequences for the player's choices, which is a problem because when you choose to focus on the narrative of your game rather than the gameplay, then the choices and the consequences of those choices become the gameplay. In a way, when your game focuses mostly on the narrative, then it can become more like an interactive movie than a video game. I think the best example of narrative stories where your choices don't really matter is Life is Strange and the Telltale series of games.
You should really tell Beast. He's worried about you.
I will. I just need to in my own time.
No, they won't. I'm going to use Life is Strange as an example of where your choices don't matter, so full spoilers ahead for like the next minute. During Life is Strange, you are given many choices that feel like they will have consequences later on, but in truth they won't. At the end of the game, you are essentially given two choices: to save one person and sacrifice the town, or sacrifice that one person and save the town. It doesn't matter what choices you made up to this point, in the end you will always be given this binary choice which will lead to one of two endings. While I'm not saying that games like these are necessarily bad, because people do seem to enjoy them and have emotional reactions to them, I'm just pointing this out so that I can explain what a good game Slay the Princess is, because nearly every choice you make in Slay the Princess feels like it has an impact on what actually happens later in the game, and will give you an interesting path forward. If you choose to not be stubborn, spiteful, or a troll, and listen to the completely trustworthy narrator, then you will follow the path in the woods to the cabin in the woods. You will eventually meet the princess, and a narrator will ask you to
slay her.
Once again, whether or not you choose to do what a narrator tells you is completely up to you. Choosing whether or not you follow the narrator's advice will result in consequences. These consequences will affect the princess herself, and I can hear you behind the screen. Yes, you saying duh. No, I mean it will affect the princess on a metaphysical level. Her body and personality will change completely based on your choices and how you treat her. Whether or not you choose to work with her or against her, and whether you choose to listen to her completely trustworthy advice. This is where the genius of Slay the Princess comes in, where other lesser dating sims give you the option of dating multiple people with different personalities. Slay the Princess lets you date one person with multiple personalities. This lets us answer the age-old question of, if you date someone with multiple personalities, is it cheating if you take out two of her personalities for dinner? These split personalities come with the added benefit of letting you date any of the following: a VTuber, Stockholm Syndrome TM, my toxic tomboy, step on me mommy, the consequences of my actions, my chemical reaction, someone's fetish, and last but definitely not least, God. Each time you get a new princess, you get a new voice in your head to keep you company, meaning that this romance was ripped straight out of the pages of the DSM-5. As you can imagine, this is a pretty fun and interesting game mechanic, where you keep coming back to see what new personalities you can unlock, like it's a loot box. And like the game tells you, don't worry, there aren't any wrong choices. So if you're like me, a dirty little save scummer, then listen to my advice. If at any point you feel like you messed up, don't load an old save. You will probably find your favorite route completely by accident. Slay the Princess has managed to become one of my favorite games, despite the fact that I was not initially expecting that much from it. I can confidently say that Slay the Princess stands out purely on the fact that I can't think of another game that's quite like it. It has such a mix and overlap of themes that for the first time I really wanted to open an artist's head to see what was going on the inside.
Oh, answer, please. No.
So, if it isn't obvious, I highly recommend that you play Slay the Princess. It's actually really cheap for the experience that it gives you. The average playthrough length is like 3 to 5 hours long, but if you want to get all the different princesses and personalities, then it'll take you about 20 hours. And I can promise you, no matter how many hours you choose to play it will be worth it. The developers behind Slay the Princess are also currently working on another game, and I plan on playing it when the final chapter comes out. So, thank you for watching my video, and while you're here, please like and subscribe. I know it's corny to ask, but statistically, if I don't ask you, there's a smaller chance that you'll actually do it. So, thanks for stopping by, and see you next time.